Good talk, huh? Vomit death talk.
I was saying the other day, I want to be the guy that has diarrhea enlightenment.
It's good. You can feel it and smell it. Anybody bring any questions or anything they'd like to talk about tonight? Yes, John.
So in this school of Zen, what is fear? Fear.
You just spent 10 minutes talking about it. They say fear is the other side of anger. You ever hear that? People show anger because they're really afraid.
Is that really true?
Excuse me?
Is that really true?
Is that really true?
Yes.
I don't know. That's what people say. Do you find it true? You're a person.
Well, I'm surprised.
You're surprised?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then,
I find these two very different.
do you have a meditation practice?
Not really.
Well, then you need to digest it. So I suggest the meditation practice. Because you're not going to figure it out in your head. If you can, come back and tell me. I suggest you cannot. Just as the eyes cannot see the eyes and the nose cannot smell the nose, mind cannot figure out mind. That's simple. I was talking to Mark Ewing today, who's had some questions about taking on additional responsibility here at the Zen Center. And one thing we talked about a little bit was perhaps what's becoming an overused word. And that word is mindfulness. It's, what do they call it when they use a word too much?
Cliche.
A cliche, yes. Yes, and so I thought maybe we could digest that a little bit together, because we love saying to each other, you have to be more mindful. Okay?
What we mean is, stop doing that, you're pissing me off.
That's right. That's right. What we're really doing is judging, which is a complete lack of mindfulness on our part. Okay? So I was suggesting that perhaps a phrase we should all digest is leave no trace.
I beg your pardon.
Okay? So leaving no trace is not somebody else not being mindful, and it's not us being mindful. It's in the situation as it unfolds, do we have to leave our luggage? Do we have to leave the taint? Or can we have the clarity to just proceed? So, I remember when I lived at the Zen Center, sometimes when we first bought the building, we had work period Tuesday and Thursday nights. I think for a while we had it 5 nights a week. We'd all come home from work and then work for 2 hours. But at that time, we didn't have a lot of tools. We had like 1 or 2 hammers and 1 and 2 screwdrivers and 1 power saw. And so invariably, you'd go down to get the power saw, or you'd go down to get the hammer, and it wouldn't be there. Somebody would have taken it to their room. Or I mean, right now we have a very similar situation at the Zen Center, I think, with spoons and bowls and cups. They migrate. And then people bring up at house meeting, please return the cups. We don't have enough cups for guests. I remember I once went into somebody's room. They had at least 20 cups there. And I looked and I said, you know, we talk every few house meetings about returning the cups. Are you there? Do you come to house meeting? I mean, what are we missing here? Okay. Nowadays, people would say, you must be mindful and return the cup. Okay? But it's really not mindfulness. It's leaving no trace. It's completing the activity or the expression that you're proceeding with. So we had a similar situation where the screwdrivers and the hammer would disappear on a regular basis. So then, one day I was at work, and a catalog came in, Harbor Freight. Do people know Harbor Freight catalog? Yeah. It's a great thing. They sell hammers for like $2 a piece and screwdrivers for 50 cents a piece. So I thought, this is a great solution. And so I just went on and I bought like 10 hammers and 10 screwdrivers and 2 power saws and just bought multiple everything, because trying to ask people all the time just wasn't working. I just couldn't figure out how to do it so people would hear. And so people went down for work period, and all of a sudden there were like 10 hammers there and 3 screwdrivers. And you know, it wasn't so long before... Yeah, in fact, it got to, you know, somebody, I'd say, see somebody walking off to work with a power saw. and I'd say, what are you doing? Where are you going? Well, you know, I was at work, and they got to cut some wood over there, and we got several power saws here, so I thought I'd just take one. And I'll bring it back tonight. Well, you know how that goes. It doesn't sometimes come back. Zen Master Seung San used to say, and he said this probably the last 10 years he was giving Dharma talks, he used to say, human beings, #1 bad animal. Human beings create so much suffering. You know? He didn't say Republicans create so much suffering. He included the whole race. He didn't say men do it all. It was everyone. In fact, at home I have this lovely little koi pond. And the koi that are living there now kind of stopped growing. And then I was reading in a book, and it said, koi will only grow big enough to fit their environment. So if you give them a very big pond, they would grow much bigger. But because they have a smaller pond, they only grow big enough to fit their environment. Human beings have no conception of anything like that. When we talk about leaving no trace, it's like this. The circle begins and goes around and comes back to closure. You have spring, fall, winter, summer, spring again. Around, resolves itself. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, sleeping, breakfast again. Morning meditation, daily activities, evening meditation, sleep, morning meditation. it's not linear. We like to think, I'll do morning meditation, get something, and then I'll be happy. Or I'll work a job, get a lot of money, and then I'll be okay. It's not linear like that. It's around. No trace. Full resolution in both each moment and each activity. It's really the practice of Zen. Mindfulness is an interesting word, but in fact, correct practice is no trace. To leave no trace requires a simple wisdom. A simple wisdom. It's not a complicated insight. It's simple. And that the beauty of that simplicity is that the moment has priority. And in the expression of the moment, the closure appears by itself. So oftentimes we say, if your mind is clear and calm, it's like a mirror. Okay? Can you feel it now? Come down into your abdomen. Mind is clear and calm, it's like a mirror. When we sample the universe, we get a reflection of our sampling. Green tree appears, mind reflects green. Airplane sound appears, mind. Someone who's hungry appears, offer them some food. Someone who's tired appears, give them a place to rest. That's leaving no trace. It actually has to do with a recognition that we're an aspect of the universe and we're not separate from it. And I know I say that every Dharma talk, but that's where leaving no trace comes from. Arriving at no trace in our school, the style we use is always a question. A big question. Because it brings you back, it grounds you. Whenever we have an answer, we can write a story about it. Oh, I solved that math problem, now I feel really good about myself, maybe I'll become a mathematician, and then I'll tell, okay? We have a question, what is the meaning of this dead man in the bathroom? Could this happen to me? Grounds you. So when we practice together, that's our focal point. You know, this Barbara and I got the invitation a couple months ago from Gillette, the razor company. Because there's a woman that runs the fitness center down there. Her name is Sky Wild. That's her name, Sky. She must have changed it to Sky Wild. I might have gone with Sunset or Beautiful Day or May All Beings Be Happy. But she went with Sky Wild. And so Barbara and I went down there to give a talk. And she's doing her best to promote mental and physical fitness. She teaches yoga, she's got a spin class, she's got a meditation class, she does some guided meditations, and people who work at Gillette can come and participate if they so desire. And what was kind of interesting about the whole thing was it's one of their, it used to be the world headquarters for Gillette, so it's more like a little campus. I don't know how many thousand people they have working there. So they have a beautiful entryway with a huge lobby. The lobby's maybe 20 times the size of this room. And so she says, let me show you the room that we're going to do the meditation in and that you're going to give your talk in. So she takes us down this hallway and into this little side room, and it's a room maybe 3 times as big as this. A beautiful room with ceiling, a lofted ceiling, and very plain and very nice. And she teaches yoga there. Beautiful, multicolored bamboo floor, brown and different shades of brown. And I said, "Wow, this is great." And Barbara was very happy. It's much nicer than the room we have at BU. And she says, "But you're not giving the talk here. We're not going to use this room. I just wanted to show it to you." And so she had already told us that we were going to give the talk right in the front lobby with everybody coming and going and the guards there giving people tags and calling and, you know, letting people know that their guests were here and this and that. And so there was a constant stream of people. And we're off to one side doing our little Dharma talk. And she looks at me and she said, "You know, this is so great. We have this program all day long." She's like one of those people that's always positive, you know. You know. So she says, "I wanted to do it right where everybody would see us. So we're going to do the spin class right in front of the main entryway. And we're going to do the meditation instruction right here in the lobby. And we're going to do a yoga class either in the building, in the lobby, or right on the lawn. And we already did one yoga class this morning at 6:15. And I thought it was great. It's very interesting. You know, most people, I need my quiet space, my little spiritual closet. Maybe some of you have one set up in your home, you know, like the walk-in closet. You put a little altar in there, and then you go in the walk-in closet, or you have a little space or special. She's like, right in the lobby. Boom. Here we are. With the world as it's happening. This is a very interesting style. When we talk about leaving no trace, it doesn't mean only at the Zen Center. It doesn't mean only when we're practicing. It doesn't mean only during chanting time. In order to leave no trace, you need to give the moment 100%. To be present. That's not in any particular place. That's why the Buddha said one time, there are 3 basic kinds of meditation. There's standing meditation. No, there's lying down meditation, there's sitting meditation, and there's activity meditation. That means everything you do, everywhere you go, can be a meditation. Now that's quite challenging, so we create things like this, Dharma rooms and meditation centers and little rooms in our house that are decorated to remind us. We have little Buddhas sometimes we put up, or psychic calendars we put on the wall, or fragrances we create, or enough to make some people throw up. But the point is that you use those things to support your practice in every moment. Then there's no inside, no outside. Questions? Yes, sir.
How can one speak without leaving a trace? Because it goes in somebody else's ear and they remember what you said. It's leaving a trace, isn't it?
How can they do that? Already happened. Can you trust that? You and I are not two, not one. What are we? Teach me. Teach me. No, too late.
Too late.
Yeah. Okay. You're not going to get it with the analytical mind. You have to go someplace else. So if you want to explore this leaving no trace, I encourage you to come to the Zen Center and practice. Don't make your practice about, I want something, I accept something, I expect something. Make it about not knowing. Yes, sir.
If you're not going to get it with the analytical mind, where is there to go?
I ask you, where is there to go?
No words for that?
I ask you, are there words for it?
Are we a mirror?
We're walking around the perimeter. How do we enter the circle? That's our job. Don't walk around the perimeter, enter the circle. So, thank you very much for coming. Announcements?
Yes.